Hey guys, what's up? This is Easy Drawings. Today we're going to go over a couple of things. We're going over how to draw Mecha Godzilla. Mecha Godzilla is a bunch of different designs. He's a kind of a mech creature, obviously. He's a mech form of Godzilla. And I know he has different names. I'm just going to call him Mecha Godzilla. There's a couple of, there's a lot of characters that are very similar to him. You know, if you look at the Power Rangers Zord, you know, the green one, it was basically Mecha Godzilla. I'm going to be using just a regular pencil, mechanical pencil. I'm going to be using these microns. And I'll tell you what sizes and things like that in a moment, but for now, I'm going to go in and I'm going to try to trace out kind of the body and work on that. So hopefully, let's kind of get into it. For now, I'm going to make him standing up. Trying to find just a general idea. I'm trying to just put anything down. All I want is his proportions. I want his general proportions down first, and then I can kind of move on to the next step. Alright. And going down to the feet. I usually draw a straight line down to kind of find the place where the feet are going to be on the floor. Placing the feet is a really big deal because you want to ground your character, you know what I mean? Without grounding them, it really looks like they're floating. And you got to make sure that kind of perspective is correct. You know, like that's usually where the feet kind of come in handy. You know, placing the feet. Rib cage area. Kind of big, massive, kind of pelvic area. Tail, arms, neck, hand. He's got kind of this torpedo hand. See how I'm drawing? I'm drawing pretty sloppily, and I'm drawing like this because I know I'm about to hide this paper behind that paper. I'm just drawing it to get general proportions down. Like that's it. That's my only goal is proportion. Where are things gonna be placed? Where I'm already imagining myself like how I'm gonna lay over this with detail, or what I'm gonna do. I'm finding mostly the joints and the posture. And there's different versions of Mecha Godzilla, you know. That's the thing with robots. Like I said, they're very diverse. You can, you know, where things intertwine, where things kind of connect, you know, where certain pieces of wire are exposed. You know what I mean? That kind of thing is really, you know, it can vary from artist to artist, and it does, you know. So, and it varies more so than just general design, but I mean general like organic characters. So I'm throwing a regular piece of paper over it, and this is computer paper, by the way. I don't know why people comment and they think it's tracing paper. It's not tracing paper, it's computer paper. I just kind of draw it dark enough so that I can see it. You might not be able to see it right now. If you can, it's it's not very visible. But you know, that's kind of the point. You know, you can kind of see it just enough. I am going into the head of Mecha Godzilla. the snout. A lot of identifying Mecha Godzilla would be that kind of snout shape. You know, you just got the general, you know, kind of profile of Godzilla himself. But you know, like I said, there's a lot of different versions. You know, in terms of like what gear is this, or you know, certain rivets that go along his mouth, like that. That is really varied across different versions of him. So this is taking a while. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna time lapse this, and then I'm gonna talk about it a little bit, then kind of come back into it and talk about it again and time lapse it. So right now I'm about to time lapse it. So. Okay, I kind of want to talk about what I'm doing. I'm essentially kind of just taking my time, and I'm trying to like figure out what, you know, kind of the general big clumpy shapes. I know he's got rivets down the center of his throat, the front of his throat. It kind of goes down, it rivets down. I know he has these latches in the back, but in terms of like little tiny shapes around there, that's pretty much stuff I'm recalling or making up. You know what I mean? That's the truth. You know, you can always grab different versions of him and look at different versions of him in drawings and stuff like that, you know, and you can take off that like the reference. You can do that as well. I do that for most like almost everything. You know, reference is part of you know, how you work. That's part of being a professional artist. Anyways, but I'm kind of going into his chest. I'm trying not to make his chest too big, because that's my tendency is to draw superhero guys. You know, their chest is huge. This guy's more of a lizard, so his chest is a little bit smaller, and usually his lower waist is a little bit bigger, you know, for him, a la Godzilla, you know. And I'm just gonna keep going down and you know, kind of tinkering down. I'm gonna go make another pass through it, but I'll stop toward maybe the waist, and I'll talk to you again. But that's, you know, I'm still trying to figure stuff out here. So, anyways, I'll talk to you in a moment again. Okay, so at this point I'm gonna make a small change, actually a giant change. I'm gonna actually shorten his legs. His legs were originally down here, but I'm rethinking his proportions. You know, they're too much like a real person. I know, and I'm aware he was a real person in a real suit, but it's either I make his legs fatter, which, you know, could work, or I would make his legs shorter. I think that might make it work a little better. I don't know. I'm thinking, well, we'll see. Let me try this out here. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna make his legs fatter. Yeah, that makes a little more sense to me. Fatter legs. Fat Mecha Godzilla. By the way, in the new Godzilla movie, did you guys think he's too fat? Because I thought that you know, Godzilla in general in the new movie looked way too fat. At least in certain scenes, you know. Anyways, that's irrelevant. Let me continue this. I'm gonna keep moving downward. Just putting the larger plates that I can kind of recall, and then we'll kind of get back into it. Anyways, this is the general pencil lines right now. It's not like I'm penciling it all evenly entirely, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over it with ink, with a micron. But I'm generally happy enough with this stage of it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into the ink. Whoops, sorry. I'm yawning. But the next stage is I'm actually going to go into the ink stage. So let's kind of go into that right now. Okay, so let's get into the inking of this this Mecha Godzilla. I'm going to be using a few different kinds of pens here. I'm going to be using a Copic multi-liner 0.5. And I'm using a few microns. I'm going to actually start with the microns. I think I'm actually going to look at them right now to kind of like see which one is big enough. That one might be too small. That one is alright. And then this one's pretty good. So I'm going to be using the micron. You can buy this at any art store. I'm using the micron 0.35 millimeter. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to trace over what I've already pretty much done. Let me change the light a little bit. Going over here, let's see. And I'm literally tracing what I did before. It's gonna be in straight, direct. That's a big part of it. Try to pull your lines just confidently. Confident lines, it's such a big thing too. Even if you make a mistake, let's say in perspective, or you make a mistake in design or something like that, if you have a confident line, people think that you put it there on purpose, and then it doesn't become a mistake anymore, in a way. It's just kind of a quirky thing, or it's just kind of a what you meant to do. I think I heard Jim Lee say something like that too. When you know, Jim Lee said when he looks at I know he was doing a demo one time, a demonstration, he said he sees pretty much every mistake on stuff that he does, but you know, you just kind of work through it. And it's weird, right? Because he's such an awesome artist. He's like, what? You know, the mistakes, you know? Everybody's kind of like that. You're going to see your mistakes because you did them. You know, I'm just going to work through them. There's some you work through and some you can't. But yeah. Anyways, I'm going to time-lapse this because I feel like you're just going to watch me trace it, but I will kind of come back around this midsection again and talk to you again. Okay, so I'm kind of going downward, and I want to kind of talk about how I'm tracing this out. The pencil part of it was, you know, it was pretty detailed, but it wasn't like super tight. Like not every nut and bolt and things like that things like that were in there in the pencil stage. So in this kind of like stage where I'm doing right now with the inking, I am kind of throwing in bolts here, and when I'm doing them is I'm kind of doing them arbitrarily, not so much, you know, like. I'm trying to make it match, like it's related. It's all related within design. But I'm also kind of changing it up myself, you know? I'm not really, you can't really remember every nut and bolt, obviously, but what you can do is remember the giant joints and then throw stuff on there, or throw little whims here. Like I'm gonna throw like an extra line right here You know, like it's an extra little crease on there. And that's just something I made up right in front of you right now. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Because a lot of that is kind of your own flair, and it is kind of your own style. There is, you know, you're taking artistic license, they call it. And it's nothing so big that it will completely change the character. That's why I'm doing it. But that's kind of it. I just kind of wanted you guys to keep that in mind as I'm kind of inking this, you know. Also remember to take your time, as I'm trying to do right now. Just take your time and enjoy the drawing, enjoy the process. If you enjoy what you're doing, you know, it doesn't feel like work, you know, blah, blah, blah. That is kind of true to some extent. You know, I used to kind of scoff at people that said that, but that is kind of true. If you enjoy it, you know, it's awesome. You do a better job on things you enjoy. It's just the way it is. Anyways, I'm going to get back to inking and time-lapse this again, and let's keep going. Okay, now let's take an eraser and clean up the lines underneath. Okay, so at this point I already erased everything I need to erase. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab a different micron. Actually, not even a micron. I'm going to grab this. This is a Copic multi-liner SP. It's a 0.5. And the reason I'm grabbing this is because it's just thicker. You know, I'd be using micron otherwise. Or I would use this Copic. I mean, it's interchangeable, you know. So, what I'm going to... filling in some darker shadows to kind of ground him. Throwing in some over here. Just by putting it and placing it selectively. This is where kind of decision making comes in with the stuff you do. Just do it to emphasize stuff, to kind of make things make a little bit more sense, so that the viewer can organize the shapes in their mind a little bit better, and it makes the image more readable. I want to concentrate around, I'm putting a thick line around the eye. I want the eye to be kind of a semi-focal point right there, or a focal point. Putting a bold line for things that are coming forward. I want this hand to look like it's on front of his leg, so I'm putting a slightly bolder line around it. I will put a bold line over the overall thing as well, but I'm just kind of finding my placement right now. This leg comes in front of that. Throwing a bold line around the rest of the whole thing now. I'm gonna probably time lapse this. So alright, now I'm looking for maybe a couple of the spots to kind of put some black in to kind of accentuate it, you know, like put some shadow. Maybe right here, side here. I'm only thinking about that, kind of what would divide up, kind of break up the image, but you know, it's doing pretty good right now. So let me see. So now that we have this, I'm gonna actually go over this with a Copic marker. I'm gonna use this one right here. This is a T4, and I'm gonna kind of go into. I'm gonna think about where the shadows are gonna be. You know, I know he's got an entirely metallic kind of feel to them. I'm gonna wait till, yeah, there we go. That's not gonna interfere too much. I was worried that was gonna interfere. Because sometimes if you don't wait long enough, the markers are, you know, the markers would kind of make they'd make the pen kind of bleed, and I don't want that. I gotta move, you know? And again, just taking out areas to kind of give him a little bit more dimension. You know, could be there too. You know, I'm trying not to overwork it as well. Overworking it would be a big issue. And honestly, that's it. I'm gonna leave it as that. The Copic marker was just to kind of bring out a little bit more dimension just here and there. I could keep going. You know what I mean? It's really just kind of like what I decided to kind of throw in there. And you know, just some little flair. Thanks a lot, guys. I do appreciate you watching. If you like the video and you want more like this, please like it and comment below. Share it as well if you can. That would help me a lot. Every time somebody shares it, it helps me like tenfold. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you next time.